Welcome to We Got Goals, a podcast by asweatlife.com on which we talk to high achievers about their goals. I'm CEO and founder Gina Anderson Cohen, and today with me we have CEO and founder of Bande, Rebecca Balyasny. Rebecca, thank you for joining me.
Gina, it's so nice to be here. Gina has been so helpful to me as I started this company and really has been a sounding board and a friend and a mentor. So it's pretty amazing to get to be here on A Sweat Life with her.
Oh my God, I feel like you've been a sounding board and a mentor. Well, it's funny because we started chatting in May of
Hmm.
2020. Does that sound right?
Yeah, May 2020.
When Bond was just the kernel of an idea.
It was just an idea. Yeah.
And before Bond, you had not started fitness businesses, but you'd been doing a lot in finance, etc.
That Yeah, I never thought I would start a fitness company. I loved what I did before. I spent the first 20 years of my career in finance. The last six, I've really been building our personal venture portfolio and early stage venture funds. And I would host a conference every year that was really fun, where we would invite our venture funds, and then I'd ask our partners to invite the founders and CEOs of the companies that they were most excited about. I've always been very interested in founders and entrepreneurs and their stories. But I didn't realize I would actually be one of them. And what they went through in founding a company, no one can ever tell you. I mean, Gina tried to tell me, but no one can ever tell you what it's like until you experience it.
And I mean, it's magical, but it's also so it's stressful and it wears on you at the same time. Is that your experience?
Yes, it's like having a newborn baby. I actually think that is the best parallel, at least for me in my life. It takes just as much work, and also it's both mentally and physically draining, but also like exhilarating at many times too.
And I think you and I could talk about entrepreneurship all day, but before we go too far down that path, I'd love for the listener to know what Bond is and where the idea came from.
So bond actually does have meaning, beyond, you hear it, bond, and we want to bring people together. So that was definitely a large part of why we started this, is bringing people together through fitness. The other part, bond actually means gang in French. And I love the dual meaning there. Um, and you want to know how I started it, how I came up with the idea?
Yeah.
Um, okay, it was an idea born out of COVID, and just desperation to both connect with people, connect with friends, and then to get in the best workouts possible. I've always been an athlete. I played college tennis. After college, I played basketball, and I had a great group of friends who I did that. But then when I was in my 30s, it became really challenging, to find the time to do workouts with people. And this was constantly a problem for me, but it was just really accelerated during COVID. I just realized that there was nothing out there that you could do virtually, and both connect socially with your friends and also get a great workout. And I just saw that white space. And I spent a couple of months just searching. And then I was like, there is nothing out there in the live space where you feel that interaction, you feel that connectivity. Um, I had done some Zoom classes actually with instructors who made me feel like that, and where I saw friends on, and that was like really nice, exciting, motivating. But it wasn't a business. And I was like, this needs to become a business. We have to crack the code of having live classes be really interactive and emotional and fun. And I mean, this morning I took a class, I was like hysterical laughing at the instructor. And some of my friends were on, and one owns a beauty care company. And she was like, the instructor was holding up my friend's beauty care. And then it feels like a community. And it actually really is, unlike a lot of the content providers out there that are really just mass marketing content. Like, we want to create this community and this interactivity in real time.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I chatted with Amaya, who is helping to lead your product on the Bond side, and she shared a ton of really exciting insights. I don't want to tease too much here, but there's a lot coming from Bond. So if you haven't tried it yet, dear listener. All right, Rebecca, let's jump in. Talk to me about a big goal you've set and achieved, why it was important to you, and how you got there.
Well, I'll talk about a physical goal first because I know everyone here is really into like athletic goals. Um, After both of my babies, I said, okay, what can I do that would be really huge? So the first, and I live in Jackson Hole, and every day I look up at the Grand Teton, which is 13,700 feet, and it is just like right in front of my face. And I was like, I have to climb that. So after having my first baby, Luke, I climbed the Grand Teton in a couple days, and it was an amazing experience. It was really hard. Although my husband and I say we're like the only people ever to have gained weight on this climb because we got all this like banana bread and cookies, and we're like, we need to fuel ourselves. Um, and we had a great time. We did it with a bunch of friends, and my brother, and we did it. And it's no small feat. It's huge, huge. It takes a whole day just to get to the saddle, and then you wake up at 3 in the morning. And we started climbing in 80-mile-per-hour winds, and we just kept on going. And then we reached the ridge, and the wind stopped, and I was glad we got there. And we like got to the top. I didn't look down, and it was an amazing feeling. The I did it the second time in one day, which is even harder. And we started at 3 in the morning, and we came back down. It was so fun. Like we had a huge crowd that met us, and I did it also with a bunch of friends, and we trained all summer. This requires serious training. Like, I would go up, I would go up mountains all summer long in order to be able to do this. So we had a big crowd when we came down. It was 7 p.m. So we started at 3 a.m., didn't stop until 7 p.m. And I've never been so tired in my life, but like so proud of myself. It's a big mountain to do in one day.
It's honestly, the timeline sounds kind of like an Ironman, like that you're just going all day, exhaustion by the end, and just feeling all of the feelings along the way. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, you're definitely feeling everything. I mean, there are certainly times I wanted to quit, but I just kept powering through. And it's helpful to have friends there, and I think that brings up a really key point to what drives me and what drives Bond. It's just connecting with others through fitness has always been so fun and so much more meaningful than just doing something on my own. It was just a great experience to do together, and really bonded me to these friends.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
I actually picture you looking out your window with like a 9-month bump, just staring up the mountain like, I'm gonna do this. Was that kind of how the goal came to be?
It was usually like after, like
Mhm.
right after I had my kids. I was just like thinking, what can I do to be like prove that I'm back and better than ever? And I continue to think I'm in better shape than, prior to having my kids, which I'm excited about. But these goals are really helpful. And then obviously starting a fitness company continues to help me achieve and get better, actually in much different ways than climbing mountains. My skiing is just better than ever from all these bar classes I do. And my
You're, I mean, you're in a squat like the entire time when you're skiing. It's
yeah,
basically that bar position the entire time.
it's actually, I think, more than that. It's strength in my hips, and it's flexibility, and it's just like being able to maneuver and feeling like such an athlete and a dancer, which I never was, from doing these classes.
It's super fascinating because I mean, like your resume, like your history, like you're such a high achiever, but it sounds like you kind of have that in both like athletics and in your business life. Would you call yourself type A in both walks of life, in athletics and in business?
Yes. There's no every I mean, I don't know if I hate to say like type A in like a negative way, but I
Not
really
negative.
believe in doing everything as well as I possibly can and just working my hardest. And never giving up. And that's something, I mean, my kids laugh at me because I'm like constantly saying what's the most important thing and they know it's like never give up. And I have a lot of never give up stories that that we talk about because I think it's just key. And I'm actually learning that in a startup too. Like you get hit in the face all the time, and you can't give up. You just have to plow through.
Hmm.
It's fun to be able to like live that on my own. I actually had that with fundraising also, which I don't know if you want me to talk about other business goals, but
Yeah, let's
um,
go.
so I was at Prudential and I was working in investment capacity, and it was rather boring, but I learned a lot. And I knew there was a $1 billion fund that the team had to raise, and so I went to the head of the group, and I said, who was like my boss's boss, and I said I want to raise the fund, and he's like, I've never had someone say they want to do that, but anyway, I set a goal of clearly raising this fund. We had $200 million gap to fill, and I wanted to fill it. And it took me like a year of just pounding the table, like literally never giving up, figuring like ins and outs. I never raised money before, and we did it. Like, I mean, we actually raised, I think, a little bit over $1 billion, and I was really responsible for it. So that was exciting. Anyway, that was a business goal I was very very happy to have achieved, and then it actually allowed me to start my own fundraising business.
Hmm. And now, I mean, I am certain that all of that fundraising experience is helping you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it will when we go raise money. I'm sure it will. Um, I mean, as a founder, you have to do everything and anything. Like, there's so many things I've learned in my career that are definitely helping me along from when I've been an investor to raising money for sure, and I mean just dealing with people, dealing and managing um, people, which I've had to do many times. Yeah, it's unfortunately not as simple as raising money.
Yep. Yep. One last question about the mountain, and setting the goal to do it. I'm interested in the process of training to climb a mountain. Is it like every day going uphill? Is it strength training? What was the process and how long did it take you to train?
So I always set out to do it at the beginning of the summer, which helps. So in June, and then I did my climbs mid-August. So what I thought was most important was getting in the mileage. So just doing at most days I would climb up this mountain in a town called Snow King that's really really steep. So I would do that, and then I would go on the weekends on longer hikes that were maybe 3,000, 4,000 type feet hikes. And then I would climb a few times a week, um, and do a lot of training climbs, both different locations, to make sure I felt really confident in my climbing. I didn't do much strength training at all. And it's, if I had, I would have been a lot better off. Just like looking back, I always did yoga. I did yoga
Mhm.
twice a week with Ariel Mann, who's actually on our platform now.
What a good get. It's interesting in retrospect. So now, like talking through this, are you going to climb the mountain again?
I'm definitely I'll climb it when my kids get old enough. There's another mountain I want to climb. It's called Mount Moran, and I thought about climbing it last summer, but with the business, being able to put in those miles is really hard. I don't think I can do it at this early stage. Like I need more condensed workouts.
Yeah, and it's hard to kind of take a call while you're climbing a mountain. You may you might be a little out of breath for that.
It's just hard. It like takes me away for too long. I don't know. I'm sure I could do the Grand Teton again based on the shape I'm in, just from Bond. Um, but I'll have to see this summer because I do think it's very important to get in these long hikes.
All right, I don't want to delay it. I want to hear about a future goal. So, Rebecca, talk us through what's a goal you're setting for the future and how do you plan to get there?
I want to build an excellent brand that brings people a ton of joy, a ton of connectivity, and that is the major brand in live stream fitness. But it has to be known for quality. Like I want everyone to know Bond as a place they can go for a wonderful workout where it's like it's both fun and it's intense and you see results that you want to see. You'll never leave Bond and be like, oh, that was like, I just halfway did it. Like you will, kind of like my personality, like you will fully be in it, whether it's a yoga class or like a restorative class, or a bar class or a hit class. Like I want people to be fully in it. And so I want to develop that brand. I want to keep developing that talent and that culture. And that's really a key goal of mine for this year.
Yeah. So, three pieces to that: brand, talent, and culture. Let's start with brand. What's going to go into that?
A lot of it is who we hire. Um, and so it kind of all comes together. It's the talent that is really a large part of our product. Um, and it's continuously honing our talent, the way we recruit, the way that we train, and really getting that down to a science, is something that I'm making a big push for this year.
Yeah.
Um, what else goes into brand? It's product. So like we're really building and focusing on the tech, and it's having the best tech out there in live fitness for fitness. Um, and we are getting there. Like I'm really proud of what we're building on that front. Um, Trying to think what else really goes into our brand. I mean, I'm talking to you here and you're so good at like language and I love your articles. Like part of this is developing our language. We actually just hired a head of marketing that I'm so excited about.
Ooh.
And I've been searching for 8 months for a head of marketing. Um, and she's definitely going to help develop this, but it's the language, it's the imagery and everything that we want to convey us. And it's figuring out like how to make it cohesive. Right now, I think our site is absolutely beautiful, but like how do we really hone that language in our emails and our instructors' language, um, in every facet of the business? Like we have a lot to work on.
I mean, I think you've done a lot and come so far in the last 8 months too, and just hiring and talent. I think you've done so much in 8 months. Honestly, if you look back at what you've built, like it's staggering what has happened. You built a lot of the platform from scratch, because things didn't exist that you wanted, so you just made them. Which I think is incredible. Like, can you talk through kind of the gaps you wanted to fill with technology?
Yeah, so it was important for me, to one have a video platform that enabled people to communicate with each other. And I'm sure Amaya talked about some of this, in her podcast, so I'm not going to go into it, but that was key. And then being able to see your friends, talk to them during class, and have a coffee date after, and have it be a totally seamless experience was I thought really unique, and something that I wanted to have happen. And then on the site, you can see which classes your friends are going to. You can see what they said about them. You can invite friends really easily, and just having that functionality. And then we also are developing a news feed. So like you can see milestones, we can post internally. Um, and it's just nice to create this community and to have it all be right there. And something else that I wanted it all to be like happy and fitness oriented and wellness, as opposed to, you go on other social networks and you just see a lot of stuff that, I mean, I was developing this in the middle of COVID that was very depressing. So I wanted this to be a respite from, the reality of, the world and the difficult things that are going on.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I think it does that. And also it plays such an interesting role in this in between like a physical class and a virtual space. Like you really have done a lot of work to create the virtual version of being in class with a friend, which I think is incredible.
That's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head. That's the concept. And so many people now live far away from their family and friends, and this is an amazing way to connect. I do classes with my best friend in London all the time.
Yeah. Can you talk about what it was like to recruit talent during COVID?
Recruiting talent is probably my biggest challenge. And I say that because recruiting the right people is so important. Um, During COVID, I can't say that it was any different. I mean, it's sort of like all the same. Something that was really important to me, though, I guess at a time that it was so uncertain for people in the fitness world, was to give them a sense of stability and to offer a salary and benefits. I really wanted them to feel secure. So our full-time instructors have salary and benefits, which I think is really
Amazing.
unique.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's really unique. We see a lot of instructors paid by the class and paid by the hour, and they just, especially during COVID, can't make a living off of that. Which it's really great to hear that you're paying salary and benefits to the instructors that you've hired.
Yeah, it's like one team, one dream. Like I want us all rowing in the right direction, and I also think like we're in the fitness world. Like if I can afford to give them benefits, like I have to do it, and I want them to have benefits. Like their health is really important, and it's the most important thing.
Rebecca, one last question before we hit the road here or you hit the mountain. But I would love to know, what is something that you're doing to either take care of yourself or stay productive or just stay well in this unique time on this planet?
Well, it this is something that's always been a focus of mine and that I've thought is the most important thing. And I'm sure all of you think the same thing, given that you're here. I exercise every single day in some form or another. Whether it could be a restorative class on a weekend if I've really been going hard, but I think it's really important to move my body and feel good physically. And for me, that usually means doing a workout, going for a run, going skiing, doing something that moves my body.
It's really interesting because I think in a startup in particular, you just get so like tied to your devices and your calendar. So I could see how moving would be that self-care practice. Do you take time away from tech, or at least from like actively touching your tech when you're working out?
Oh yeah, I don't touch my tech when I work out. I, for the most part, unless I think of something, that would business related. If I'm taking one of our classes, sometimes I just like have an idea and I'm like, oh, gotta write it down. But I use my camera as a video tool, and actually that helps me not do anything except take the class.
That's awesome. I think that that's honestly the biggest challenge for a founder is you're just constantly like on with technology, and that is draining mentally and emotionally. So I could see how moving physically, especially if you're kind of like tech free, could be your self care practice.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely.
what's interesting, Rebecca, is like our relationship, although it has been, we haven't been friends for a super long time. I feel like you're so intimately tied into my life now after this year because you and I met like just before I had a series of emergency surgeries. And then we formed like a friendship through it. Do you remember the when you called me and I was like at the
We
hospital?
were at the emergency room.
We had a call scheduled, and I laugh at this now, but in the moment, like I shouldn't have picked up the phone. I picked up the phone and I was like, Rebecca. And then I'm like, I'm at the ER. And then I gave you no information. And then told you, I think, what happened probably 2 days later.
Yeah, I found out. I called our mutual friends and I
Ah,
found out
yes.
what happened to you.
Yeah.
I was like, this is bizarre. But this woman is tough. She's actually picking up the phone at the emergency room.
Yeah. My husband was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know." I don't know. But now, like, friends for life, because then we also like continued talking after that, and then one more emergency surgery. And honestly, I think you're good luck now. But at first I was like, I don't know. Rebecca and I keep having meetings scheduled and then I have surgery on those days. But
That was
now I think
well, the first time we talked, you didn't have surgery.
that's true. You're right. You're right. It was two flukes, two flukes. But now friends for life. Well, I'm
You're feeling good? You're
yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm 9 months out now, so I'm basically like recovered. I'll be in like Rebecca shape in a year. We'll give it a year.
I don't think it'll take you that long. Come do some classes with me.
I'm ready. I'm ready. And you, listener, you come do classes with us too. We'll share in the show notes and on sweatlife.com how to find Bond, maybe an exclusive offer if you're lucky, and how to invite your friends to work out with you on Bond too. Rebecca, anything we forgot to talk about that you want to make sure everybody knows about Bond?
I think we covered a lot, but I guess the bottom line is if you're looking for a place where you can work out with your friends seamlessly, and you just want to connect and get a great workout in, like there is no better place. I can guarantee that. So I hope to see you all soon. I hope to see you, Gina, too. And thank you so much for having me on. It's been a real honor and a lot of fun.
This has been delightful. And this was another episode of We Got Goals, which is an a sweatlife.com production. Thank you to Ryan Deffett for the audio production, to Ryan Barr. You got two Ryans for video production. And thanks to all of you for listening.